Hello. Um, this is second segment of Superman. Again, if you are religious or if you don't want to hear anything of perversions, I suggest you don't listen to this video. This time I'm covering Superman's girlfriend. So, as movie shows him falling in love with a middle-aged reporter who smokes and all other kinds of habits. I would not call it most distinguished of a lady habits. Nevertheless, in the movie, he falls in love. Basically dies for her or whatever. And he only, amongst all the women he chooses to be with her. Unfortunately, in a real life, within massiveness of female potentials in every nation to culture to ages, being an ultimate alpha within realistic, as evidence is always showing and continuously will show man's illogical and very egotistical behavior, infidelity, cheating. You name it, what a man has done within his internal sexual urges and needs to fulfill it. So when you, within a reality, when a man is the ultimate or has the power to, in a real life, it's more about money. Physical appearance and all that, yeah, they come and go, but really the power, as he is the ultimate alpha, but in a real life, it's really about money, wealth, and your impersonation as a within social ladder that gives you the example as an ultimate alpha. As far as a man looking handsome, being a particular size and all that, that's as much. Those things are just really a matter of perspective. Really, those kind of things lie within the naivety of life. When you don't know any better and you go for it, like a teenager falls in love with a handsome looking jock or whatever. Nevertheless, in a real life, the ultimate male alpha would not settle for a single woman. In his early stages of trying to become and achieve things in a real life, he may stick to one woman, but eventually, if he attains certain status, eventually, and he has more power of avenue to pick and choose as he wants, and then he will eventually succumb to fulfilling his internal urges. So, in a movie, the ultimate alpha may fall in love with the one woman, but in a reality, it is shown. You just have to look at the Hollywood. Look at any kind of social ladder, to the most lowest of welfare system to the most highest of millions and billionaires. They all have secrets in the closet. They are not faithful to one woman. They all been around, mostly. It's the saying, finding a virgin in this modern time is like looking for a needle in a haystack, trying to find a couple that has stayed faithful all through their life in their marriage. That's like looking for a needle in a haystack. So when a man is given a position in being represented as an ultimate male. Mostly they are recognized in, like, because they have Hollywood movie stars or to power, money. They have some kind of foundation of wealth or recognition that all the females are just would easily succumb. I'm not saying all, but most of them will. Nevertheless, in a reality life, the male specimen, we're all arrogant. You could be ugly as a dog, and you're still going to be arrogant and think you're a ladies' man. I mean, that's its nature of the game. Nevertheless, the question, though, is what male has the greatest woman, has the most fulfilling of life within female genders? I mean, you would think marrying the most beautiful Hollywood actress or something. That's very naive, that you think such a beautiful woman would really give the very aggressive male specimen all its sexual desires and needs. One woman, I mean, even if she did, a man within his egotistical urges of never-ending needs, no matter how beautiful she is, no matter how greatly she satisfied him, there's no winning. He's gonna move, venture into other possibilities. And sometimes most beautiful guys that are married to most beautiful women, they end up being found out cheating on a woman that is like ridiculously ugly, either overweight or physically unattractive compared to what they're married to. And that is because most beautiful women, they're more like a trophy wife. I mean, what's going on behind the closed doors? Maybe once or twice they had a grateful family, but for a man, egotistical man, that's not enough for a lifetime. So, Superman's girlfriend, unfortunately, is not in a singular woman. It is in many. Unfortunately, every guy out there would like to brag about how many females they had and how many sexual great encounters they had. And the true answer will be within themselves, Nobody's really going to know. But unfortunately to say, the men and women, who had obtained the greatest of sexual pleasure, that is the most potent thing within a specimen, whether you're a wild species or a human. It is the most potent thing. And while society looks at things in which man attains his pleasures, like prostitutes, going to prostitutes, paying for it, and whatever, rather than dating, getting married. Unfortunately, the ones who are always talking about not paying for it, or I don't pay for it, and eventually marries, eventually they're the one who will pay 1,000 times more in financial penalty through divorce and through his arrogance of thinking that he was smarter because he thought he was getting free. Unfortunately, he will end up paying 1,000 more times than a guy who just logically said, forget the dating, I need it, I'm just going to go pay it, $20, whatever. So, the ultimate alpha male cannot have one woman. He must have many, and unfortunately to say, never ending. Through this, what is the best route? To be married, to have a girlfriend, or to go to the ultimate, most disgusting route, to become a film exotic star, adult film star. That is the fastest route. It is most degrading, nevertheless, as a man specimen. He would rather feel aggressive. He has no consciousness of emotional trait. He just cares about releasing his urges. And then he enters into the world of sex trade or whatever. I mean, society looks at it as a most degrading thing, but when it comes to fulfilling the ultimate and most pleasurable, I mean, what can you say? You either get married and really fool yourself if you are very aggressive in urges, and then just spend your whole life away in trying to lie to yourself and spending tons in finance and divorces and embarrassment, or you just go straight toward most degrading thing, but you're fulfilling. So the ultimate alpha male, within his potency of hormone, he just cannot stay with one woman. And whatever pathway he goes in life journey of fulfilling his sexual needs, and the consequences and repercussion in mental agony of depression and self-loathing of what he has become, however he may handle it, there's no way of winning it. Really, you either get married and neglect and lie to yourself, or you go into a world of darkness and fulfilled and face the repercussion. Most of them, suicide, drug addicts, mental depression, some people call it bipolar. So, I'm sure I didn't clearly explain the Superman's girlfriend, but there is no definite line in which to go toward, because if you are an ultimate, very aggressive, intensifying and high hormone filled individual, then you cannot stay single. One woman is not enough. And then it changes depending on how aggressive you went about your sexual needs. It changes. Mid-woman is no longer any good. The ages, and then university students, and then there's no end. And through their lifestyle of this aggressiveness, of living this sin, and most of them will cry about it because they don't like the repercussion of it. But in fact, Mother Nature gave them the fastest route, the most effective route, rather than to go toward the common society way. Had they not gone the dark route, the fast route, no matter what the repercussion is, in depression, suicide, to a drug addiction, they could have never fulfilled that amount of pleasure senses had they not gone that route of darkness. if they had gone into the society way of marriage and faithfulness and all that, they would have died in neglect or dying without fulfillment. So nature has a funny way. Some of the most spiritual backgrounded children, their parents are their parents are spiritual. These children have been taught, been raised under most righteous and religious upbringing to background. But somehow Mother Nature had them going into the world darkness. Deep within themselves, although they don't like the repercussion of it, but deep within themselves, if they were really to look at themselves in the mirror, they say, yeah, it was a better life than to live life of society way of marriage and single woman. I'm not saying getting married to a woman is not a good thing, it is. But when you're an alpha male, just as in primitive species, wild species, they have many females. That's their objective, these wild species. Get as many females as they can. In the human species, unfortunately say it's the same. Is that if you deny yourself, it's great. I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to those men out there. They have these secret internal urges, but they're willing to try to fight it or suppress it for the sake of keeping their marriage intact or trying to help themselves to not to go into. I have to say I admire a lot of family men or any men who could do that, because to deny yourself of that itch, the never-ending craving. I mean, I have to say they have more willpower than I could ever understand or withstand. So, unfortunately to say, while the movies, an alpha male who may have the power through wealth, through recognition, through fame, have the ability to pick and choose the best cuts of the meat, basically. When he has that power, he will succumb to it eventually, if he is considered to be an alpha male. High hormone, very aggressive, testosterone individual. So, I don't know what more I can say other than that this image of most noble, whether it's a preacher, school teacher, doctor, any noble occupation, individual, that are constantly fighting this internal needs and desire of the opposite sex, and however way they're controlling it, all I could say is I could admire them for it, because there's no good or nothing could come out good of going into the world of fast, meaningless pleasures. But when it defining to fulfilling that itch, I mean, what can I say? It fulfilled it. So, anyway, all I could say is that Mother Nature has a very funny way of giving the individuals their needs in a most peculiar, bizarre way. And unfortunately, within anything that is aggressive in fulfilling addictive needs, there's repercussion. And whether you could deal with it or not, it all depends on the individual. So for now, I'm afraid that will be end.